Yeah, for real though, guys. Like, I don't know. Maybe I should do a podcast on this, but I think it is really hard to get people to like open their wallet and invest in the esports scenes. Not just from an investor standpoint, but from a viewer standpoint. Shout out to all you cuties who do watch. I appreciate it. It helps a lot tremendously. But there's definitely like an interesting discussion I think that I should maybe start leaning into more around the wider esports scene. There's a lot of things broken in our ecosystem that I'd love to see fixed. One thing that I'd love to see fixed is team games, baby. We've had so much entertainment value out of these tournament games, and yet so often it feels like team is underrated and the underperforming element in the esports plans for RTSs. But this series has already had an interesting opening, actually. I love the fact we had two absolute opposites when it came to the French players, BLB and QF. Are they going to do it again? Are we going to get something just as drastic? And let me flip that score around to us just to remind people, it is not the Bohemian Bros, the Czech stack, that has the lead here. It's Liu Tao, the full Chinese stack, that's already on match point. Okay, so did we change anything here? We did, right? Yeah, so it's Abbasid instead of English for yellow, and now it's English instead of HRE for blue. I do prefer their infantry strat on this map. Last time, they picked an infantry strat on a big map. Now, Dry Arabia, all the maps are big, but the difference is in the way that you spawn. So if you look at the map, you can see that green, for example, is very close to pink. He can try to rush him with Byzantine. Yellow is very close to purple, which is unfortunate because yellow is not going to rush him. I do think the perfect formation would have been to have had green here and yellow here. Because red at the back makes sense as a cav sieve, he can always arrive. And the reason you want yellow at the back is because, believe it or not, guys, Abbasids are also a cav sieve. If they can get online, though. Lombo's already arriving to be a nuisance here. Lao Tang did go for the council hall play. The Greece on the other side also went council hall, but he's playing from central position. However, this is very intriguing. They're doing a double Lombo strat into G. Okay, that's kind of cool. It's tricky, right? Because when you play Japanese, you only think about one thing, that's going fast castle. However, Xi done a good job of prepping for this. He knew it was going to be a risk, and he already has double outpost, which is forcing a very early ram timing out of this double all-in. Yeah, make no mistake about it, folks. This is going to be a quick game, one way or the other, because when you go for this type of play, you're so heavily invested in ending the game fast. If this misses, or you spend too long on one player, these two will come into the picture, and they will dominate the game. I'm going to play himself. Kind of an awkward position here. Usually you want to have a matchup where you can build Desert Raiders, but unfortunately, because of the fact that it's a triple infantry strat, it kind of feels like they intentionally built this way to counter the Ayyubid pick. Then again, by having a Bastards, you eventually give value to Ayyubids anyway. Outpost being torched here. Bing. I'm surprised he even tried to garrison that. He's going to run for the high heels. Gets out of range just in time here. Did gather a decent amount of gold, so we'll have enough for a tech up, but not much beyond, and now he's going to shuffle away again. So, well played. That was elegantly done. Gee, dodges losing any villagers. He was waiting to look for the moment where blue and green weren't paying attention. Yeah, and diving the TC is just not on the agenda. Not with just Lombos here. They don't have enough of that just yet. It just wouldn't be worth it, right? Like, your opponent has 30 villagers at this stage. You'd throw away your whole army to half his economy. It sounds really good on paper, but in the grand scheme of things, you'd have invested heavily into double army and lost both of them. Flown gate now on the way. Rack's being prepped as well, so we are going to be seeing Samurai here. Pretty smart from G. He doesn't have gold access now. I mean, he could actually sneak on the backside. The problem is these players are going to patrol, right? So what he's trying to do is use the very limited resources he has to get max value. The only issue is, like, obviously some of that is spent on the hardened status and then the veterancy. But overall, like, he should be able to marketplace and then efficiently build an army, because you can just trade a few times, whereas if you went for the Mounted Samurai, you'd be spending over 100 gold per. The only tricky part is that you are slow moving, so Lombos will be able to pick away at you. Speaking of which, Lombos will draw the first blood on Pink's villagers here. Pressure's starting to stack up. That's 2 dead. Soon to be a 3rd. He's going to look to move away. Did he get the Urshira drop just in time there? So the Rax was pre-rallied. Does get it in before it be a problem. And all of a sudden, some hesitation there. The Ram not already in position to attack onto the Rax is a problem here. Elsewhere, we have got return pressure as Purple is now stacking up the Rams for a push into Yellow's base. Elsewhere, we also have pressure from Orange. Love the fact that he's not trying to save Pink. He's doing it indirectly. He understands that these guys are all in, so attacking them here is a much harder fight than just going after their economy. Samurai jumping out really early here. A little bit surprising considering he doesn't have the veterancy. These are just hardened samurai, folks. What? I mean, I get waiting until you have enough samurai to justify, but I'm not sure about the diving out aspect here. He doesn't have undermesh. He's lucky his opponent doesn't have the +1 damage. However, he did just clear the Limitane, and the horsemen wrap back around. Okay, the picture has been painted, and these boys deal it in Van Goghs. What a 1-2 maneuver there. That was sick. So he throws away the samurai to get rid of a few of the Limitane and bait them in. Horsemen wrap around. The longbow count has now been reduced. However, there are still 2 courier siphons alive. The float gate is already down. That means Rax next on the hit list. Rally point also a little bit ugly. A little bit tricky here. There's still a decent number of Limitane. The horseman could dive in to protect. Villagers with a pull. Goes through the repair, but not good enough. The courier siphons do it. Yorishiro racks down, floating gate down, meaning that Ji is pretty handicapped, although being in age 3. Doesn't really feel like it here. The good news, at least, is everyone else is still in age 2. The bad news is that Japan doesn't play well without this floating gate buffer. So maybe they can get some return fire that makes it worthwhile, because QF, he wins the fight against Red! The trade out is painful. Lao Tang has to throw away the longbows, but now if he's able to eviscerate Yellow's archer count, it'll be worth it. Has got the undermesh. Steel Dagger is there for Yellow as well, though. The purple rams doing more and more damage. The TC has been taken out. Lindemann is, of course, at 50 villages. That can't be taken away from him easily. But he's now at 1 TC. And he did go for an eco wing play. Not just that, Knights are roaming around the back. So after getting that win against BLB, too familiar of a sight in this series, by the way. QF just keeps dominating BLB in these French mirror matchups. He now has the extra firepower to start denying the lucrative food sources near BLB's base. I've at least got Camel Archer, so maybe a little bit harder for Teal to rush these fights. Southside things have really slowed down. Dekin has a hell of a lot of horsemen pumping. We haven't got repair coming through on the floating gate whatsoever. Okay, sorry, he's got 1 villager there. So it's going to be a slow repair. He understands that it's going to take a long time, but he can't afford to waste additional resources rushing it. Nice once again in. The Camel Archers are starting to scale, guys. So like this isn't over. If Yellow can get up to say 8, 9 Camel Archers, things can look good. The tough part is the matchup here is English and French versus Abbasid and French. You'd think that would favor Abbasid and French, but the Camel Archer detail doesn't really matter against mass Lombos. And Lombos have higher pen than standard archers. They start with 1 extra damage, right? So even when they're up against French Knights, which are meant to counter them, they do more damage than average archers. So that dynamic in mind, it kind of means that the Abbasid player, like his only choice is to try and dive the Lombos. And if Teal has enough Knights, that's never going to happen. And yes, this is playing like 2v2s, which makes sense if you think about it. Like both sides' flanking players are attacking. What's going to be interesting is at one point, things are going to loosen up a bit, and then you'll see one of the cavalry players play to the other flank. That's statistically more likely to be the east side team because they have double cav, whereas the west side team is playing triple archer. Green. This is looking ugly. He had to go 2 TC after the losses. I mean, Pink is still kind of pressed into the ground, but look at the difference now. Pink ahead by 7 villages. Rax is also being prepped, and this time it is going to be the full-fledged veteran samurai. So all of a sudden, you find yourself in a position where blue and green may need to start contemplating a tech play. Wondering, where is the rest of Teal's Knights? Because the numbers aren't here. Oh my god, he found him. Backside, Lindemann. Village is no longer safe here. And this could turn into a sandwich. Just enough Knights in the front line to hold this back. Lombo's trading out. The Knights are on the way quickly to this fight. A brisk pace around the back. An arrival just in time to claim the title. The villagers are going to be intercepted trying to run home. Huge massacre here. Archer count can now also get cleaned up. I mean, the only reason they're not right now is because so many villagers are being targeted instead. A lot of them do at least survive, but heavily injured. The Lombos now recommit, and there's nowhere for Yellow to go here. BLB doesn't have any assistance to offer. He's down to 5 military. People asking if BLB is drunk before this. I think he's going to have to be drunk after this because I'd need a few doubles to make me forget about this experience because this is a beatdown. It's crazy when you look at the military to think just how dominant the position of China is. But really, they are in control. It's military quality as well, right? Like archers, lombos, limitane compared to knights, now samurai and lombos. Big difference maker. Now, of course, QF did throw away quite a few knights there, but with the numbers being so low at this stage, it feels very difficult for Yellow to recover. South side is their only hope. They need this kill quick on pink. Still, he basically has replaced the Yorishiro by just spamming Raxes. That's 14. Make it 15 samurais sitting in the TC. If they even try to approach this. It's tough. I think what the plan here was for green and blue to keep harassing and then probably green techs while they keep the pressure up. But the problem that occurred is that dive from the Horseman earlier. It cost green way too much. He had to transition into 2 TC when he should have been transitioning to Castle H. So now they're kind of just stuck in a rut here. And the longer they do this, the more it benefits G. G, who shall not be tamed. Able to hold on his own now. Dakin getting ready for Age Free himself. It's already on the way. Growth week in 10 seconds. Look at the stockpile of resources. This dive is meant to break Japan. Might not be able to do so. Love the micro G. He's not wasting villagers garrisoning this. He just keeps shuffling the samurai in and out to force a retreat, to buy the time to get the assistance. And it's now on the way. Orange with Age Free should be looking to get into Camel Lancers next. In the meantime, we have got a Horseman dive rippling into the base of the English here. No good reaction coming through, because remember, this is the worst Civ to try and counter Horseman with villagers. Any other Civ, Shiv's out fine. But against Horseman with English, you do range shots, which means you're only hitting for half damage. Yeah, pretty painful. And now he's going to keep rippling because he's actually shuffling across to Red's trade, which is in its infancy right now. Teal, meanwhile, is also looking to cause double pain for BLB. Still outnumbering him. Lombo mass is big. We're up to 46 for blue. However, there's a problem. Oh no. Samurai, they need to bait this back. You want to go in and out. The moment you retreat, you can bait them in range to the mango. Instead, though, he keeps A-clicking it. They just want to chase him all the way home. He knows eventually the mango will be able to reach him here. Shots coming in onto the spears instead. Samurai do have the Adachi tech, folks. They hit incredibly hard against this infantry comp. North side, I don't even know what we're looking at him anymore. Yellow is pretty much done. This dive in should wipe his economy. There's nothing left to defend him here. He's pulled his military all the way back. He had to on the west side. The Knights now coming in with a Lombo assist. This time, BLB maybe a little bit too late to keep his teammate alive. Southside Samurai are at least finning. The Mangonel still chasing them. We're almost at the base. Big wallop coming in on the Limitane. North side. Looks like Yellow actually is going to get stay of execution. BLB, through his full body, his full might behind this, it's enough to convince them to leave. But the Rams got the space. Lao Tang taking out the only TC that Yellow has left. Oh boy, oh boy. And you know, before this, the idea of being able to keep up was on the basis of mirroring the economy. Now that can no longer happen, so they need to strike back fast or they're going to strike out. South side, it's already looking ugly though. Mango's moving in. The Samurai have marched all the way across to Constantinople. And it's going to be a Constantinople in this one. Because he cannot stand his ground at all. Lombo's chased away. The GG comes out. And it is going to be a swift exit for the Bohemian Bros. The Eastern stacks cannot be stopped. East is rising up, man. They are fierce and they are scary. There's a growing risk that quite quickly this is going to turn into a full Asian team tournament with no European representation to speak of. Crazy to see. Love to see it as well, though. It's so refreshing to see some new names dominating instead of it just being the atypical. Sure, we haven't had the Marines or BCs playing in this, but we've had some known names. Your Battle Teams coming on, your Bs as well. And time and time again, it's Asia coming out on top.